On weather in Europe, just to let you know that I am seeing that there is going to be a pretty brutal winter, and the winter is going to be with snow. It's going to be pretty badly hitting all the way here, this area here, and it'll be a longer winter. It'll last until about actually June 1st, around about June, the first week of June, where you'll still see snow or cold weather. I'm so sorry, extreme cold weather. There is going to be extreme heat in the summer, but in the winter you're going to see snow and ice and wet snow and lightning storms that I talked about before, unusual lightning. So please be aware of that, especially if you're near water or any significant item that will draw lightning. That also the flooding is going to be, there's going to be flooding in south of England, in parts of Ireland, and also in France, the crops in France and in Spain. I'm seeing crops being devastated with either heat or with flooding. So I'm sorry about that, but that's what I'm seeing too. There's flooding here in Italy, I'm seeing, and basically that's it that I could see that's really extreme. Just quickly, I don't know if I've covered it, but I'm going to do another video just to let you know there's going to be extremely cold, ice cold weather and freezing rain. I mean, it's really, I'm seeing a ton of snow, and this whole area is being covered with ice storms and severe snowstorms and blizzards. So please be careful. Each country is getting hit, basically, and extraordinary snow levels. So be careful of that, and that is something that you need to be wary of and protect yourself. Freezing rain, as I said, blizzards, and they're coming in any from already started, but the really big blizzards or the weather systems that are coming in from here, I'm seeing. There are some here, but quite frankly from here, are hitting in end of December. There's one in on January 27th. There's a horrible storm, that lasts for 4 or 5 days. Then there's one in February 16th for 2 or 3 days, a horrible blizzard, snowstorms, and this is a huge one here coming in, and roundabout nearing the end of February to March 1st for about 4 or 5 days is a huge snowfall. I mean, it's unprecedented. So you're going to get extreme colds, record-breaking cold. And on the other hand is the heat. Let's go there. You're going to see heat going from over 100, from 102 to 104, probably 6 in certain countries. So in the summer, so be careful. There's no rain, long air times or days and weeks of no rain. So that's adding to drought, which I said in Madrid and in the vineyards in France, etc., are being affected, and crops. So be careful. But basically, it's the extremes, the record-breaking cold, record-breaking heat. So please be careful, okay? And the last snows you're going to see is probably about March, into March 31st to really April 17th in certain areas, okay? Sorry to bring that. Thanks for joining me. Hi, this is European earthquakes, and it's not the best picture, I'm sorry. But anyway, it shows that there have been quite a few earthquakes, and this is only through 2 weeks in. And what I'm seeing is really, I'm going to actually have to go because you can see there's a 4.2 and a few others in here, in off the coast of Ireland here, and France and Spain. But I'm going to go to this USGS, which isn't the best, I know, for Europe, because it doesn't really give you accurately, but I'm going to just go over a few things that I'm seeing. That this whole area here is going to has been unstable, so expect some there. Earthquakes, but all of this area is Greece. I think Athens will be, that one is a 5.2, and that will get maybe later on next year in about September a 5.9, 6.3, and maybe as much as 6.9. Rome and that, all of this, Italy, it has been quite active, but I am seeing a proliferation of smaller earthquakes, the largest being about a 5.2, maybe even as high as, giving you the outside here, a 6.8, 6.5. Okay, so these areas will get hit. France is getting proliferation of not a huge amount, but smaller earthquakes here. England will get some earthquakes, still will, and that's what I'm seeing. Ireland, there has been, but just off the coast. Spain, definitely in there too. So Norway, Sweden, they are going to be hit. I haven't got anything on it immediately, I'm afraid, but I do see 4.4s, maybe a 5.2 in this area here. Okay, I know they're short and quick, but that's what it is this year. Welcome to another video, and this one I'm going to cover is in Europe and terrorism. So please be patient with me, it's a bit garbled, I hope you follow me. But anyway, and I want to warn you of a new terrorist-based cell. They created this cell, approximately what I'm seeing is in August of last year. Initially, there were 2 individuals who are basically followers, and a third person I would call a watcher and the main instigator of the cell. I would say he was actually the actual catalyst to the group and is the most aggressive out of the 3 of them. Very aggressive and very, very dangerous. He started recruiting in Belgium and throughout the European countries, as well as in the Middle East countries. This is where he seems to have come from. He comes from muddied, wealthy background, and he seems to be in his early 40s. This particular cell has evolved to a much higher level of coordinated, harder and larger attacks. They are also recruiting in the US too. He is using the foundational extremists who are operating in Iran and Iraq too that I see. They have a large underground support system and communication system. They have grown to be a larger underground power for subversive attacks where they can disrupt and make a name for themselves. They seem to be very good at recruitment too. They also seem to be on the radars of Europol, Interpol, Scotland Yard, FBI's radars as of last July. So they are there, and I'm seeing attacks, but I'm not going to get into that because that's past. I'm going for the future. They recognize this particular break-off group, and this is the other extremist terrorist groups, recognize this particular break-off group as very organized and aggressive. They organize people to be part of they organize their people, should I say, to be part of a large gathering and in protests, etc. And using the old strategy of using rhetoric and keywords to incite the crowd to be far more aggressive and violent than they would normally be. Be warned, please. There are some who may use this situation, and these guys would be using, and other groups, terrorist groups, would be using homemade bombs during these situations. One, I see a terrorist attack around Christmas and 2 altercations in London Central and in Paris. They are basically feeding on hate, confusion, and fear-based issues, as in Italy, where there is a strong trend to reject non-Italian-born people. So expect to see a lot of extremists with hatred speech and acts. This will create more subgroups of localized terrorist groups. And I'm not talking associated with Al-Qaeda or anything like that, but it's still terrorism when they are attacking innocent people and ideals. So this localized terrorist group promotes this new Italian only push to purge any of those people who don't fall under this category. So that will be growing, I'm afraid, and it's getting worse. People are actually feeling so threatened in Italy who don't believe in this that they're even having to shut up about it and go underground themselves with their own views. It's become so prevalent. So, FYI, I'm putting out a new video, hopefully later on this coming year, on fear and how it feels like a massive vacuum on people who are angry and dissatisfied with their own life, resentful of those who have money and are successful. Anybody who's in that category. And it's easy for them to do this at this time on earth where they feel vindictive against those who are successful. And I don't know if you agree with me on that one. So back to what the subject is here. Expect to see terrorist attacks, different types of attacks using homemade bombs, knives, etc. In or near Paris. In London, small attack from 2 to 3 people being attacked to also large gatherings of about 60 plus to 100 plus. Maybe a protest, this one. In England, another attack with a few thousand in attendance. Could be one in February and in the end of March, August, July, September and November. In Belgium, we'll see about 7 incidences of terrorist activity. Small to not that really large. One may involve a train. In Ireland, Northern Ireland, it seems to be seeing more activity with local riots there, and it seems to be there seems to be a resurgence of the old extremist ideals. I don't know if this is true. You can let me know. This is mainly utilizing the younger 25s and the younger groups and mobilizing them. There are other cells, terrorist cells, operating as part of a larger body. And these are the groups that obviously Interpol and Europol are keeping an eye on. So expect terrorist attacks in Italy, outside Rome, I see, just outside Paris, Spain, not so much, in Madrid, possibly. And this is local terrorist groups. These are, rather. This is how terrorist groups and individuals who want to destabilize and not so much on an individual level. They just want to destabilize the flow of economy, etc. They're being generally funded by a large, hidden, dangerous consortium who are globally tied together. They are the true puppeteers here. They want to manipulate the economies and stock markets of the larger, more successful countries and powerful countries, and this is how they make their money and proliferate. I don't mean to start a conspiracy theory here, but there are groups out there. Just quickly, on a side note, Scotland, there are riots in Scotland in around about August, and it's about 2 to 5, one large protest, maybe at a university too. This becomes quite violent and quite a few are injured, 2, 3 are possibly killed. So please be careful. Mass shootings and terrorism, I'm going to cover that for Europe here, but quite frankly, it's not as bad as it is here in America. There are certain areas, obviously, that it is horrific, and that's, I'm talking about Ukraine, Belarus, all of that is going, Moldova, they're, obviously going through a horrible war with Russia, but I am seeing mass shootings, about 2 in Norway, and in Sweden about 1. Finland, there may be a small 3 people. It's as if it's a little terrorist group off kilter, I don't know where. UK, you'll see about 5 incidences of terrorism. throughout the year, but these are with knives to mass bombing. There could be a bombing I'm seeing in UK and in Ireland as well. France, I'm seeing a lot of riots, but also there's with those riots, there's terrorism acts. They're fighting the government. There's some kind of problem with that, and also in France as well. But it's not as bad. Italy, there's a lot of heated political activity there, really, really, and a lot of kind of prejudice and racism in certain sectors in Italy, sadly. But that's going to blow up with clashing groups, and not exactly terrorism, but definitely clashes with riots. Okay? And that's it. Hello. I'm back again with terrorist activity around the world. I know I've added bits and pieces on Europe, etc., elsewhere, but this is far more broad spectrum. Anyway, there are going to be more independent and individual cells of terrorism, and it's as if it's actually part of a hive, which seem to be seeing a resurgence in the following countries. Again, as always, I hope I'm wrong, but I am giving you this information. Iran, Iraq, nearly all the Middle Eastern countries, and even though they some of them support Al-Qaeda and all the others, they do have terrorism, okay? So anyway, Middle Eastern countries, Morocco, Denmark, Belarus, Turkey, Greece. In several countries in the African continent, Vietnam, the Philippines, England, Ireland, Italy, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Sweden, Cuba, America, Canada, Australia, parts of Indonesia, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, which is very underground there. Russia will have, but again, it doesn't mean to say it's all or originating from Al-Qaeda. Their terrorism is, there are different faces to it, so remember that. So these terrorist groups seem to be distinctly separate, the ones I'm thinking, or seeing rather. However, they seem to be united with a common central mentality. It's like a pyramid with individuals, part of a larger cluster. The clusters are part of a collective cooperative group. As mentioned previously, they all seem to be being directed by a very financial powerful consortium, which is not based in one country per se. This certainly sounds like a conspiracy theory, but when you take time and put things together, who, what, where, there are too many coincidences with what seems to be coordinated attacks, riots, etc., and protests. Again, as mentioned below, it is all about impacting certain countries and their economy and controlling the masses to devalue and maybe manipulate their currency, etc. What do you think? Anyway, this information was not given to you for you to begin being fearful and living in a life of worry. It is for you to be more aware of how you can control your own life and not let media and the herd mentality dictate your daily routine. Your individual right to decide what is best for you, etc. Isn't that correct? Use this information and as mentioned earlier, it is all about impacting certain countries and their economy and influencing them, controlling the masses to devalue and maybe even manipulate their currency, etc. What do you think? This information was not given to you for you to begin being fearful and living in a life of worry, constant worry actually for many of you. It is for you to be more aware of how you can control your own life and not let media and the herd mentality dictate your daily routine. your individual right to decide what is best for you and your family, etc. Isn't that right? Use this information and decide to just worry about your immediate circumstances. Fortify your own resources, family, finances. Do you have savings enough for 6 months, 1 year plus? Health, food, home, friends, these are things that I know are the individual's worry and fear. In a time of crisis or with the chaos that's happening throughout the world. Make a list and look at it every few weeks to a month or so. Ask yourself, what has changed? What needs to be adjusted? Create a backup plan. What is actually important to you? And act on it. Then act on that and work towards that end. You will feel more in control of your life and not part of a crazy world we're existing in today. Create a backup plan. What is important to you? Then act on that and work towards that end. You will feel more in control of your life and not part of the crazy world we are existing in today. I hope next year to put out a few short books with a lot of exercises which are really self-examining, which will help you gain hopefully more control and structure in your life. That is, if anybody is interested. There is a lot of work, self-investigation and realizations a person has to do, your homework, before they are in a position of personal power and can feel independent enough to feel free of worry and fear, which is fear dictates a lot in our lives, and we don't even realize it until it's you face off on it. Anyway, if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll work on that for next year. Thank you for joining me on this video. On this section, we're covering COVID and in Europe, and I do see, I'm going to put a section in from US because that's exactly where it's coming from that I told you. It started proliferating or starting off in about September, and there's an article that I'm uploading on the US regarding this new strain, COVID variant that seems to be far more aggressive and widespread, but I'll copy that in here. But basically I'm seeing is really a lot in Italy, and that's going to start increasing by about start of December. You're going to see far more cases in Italy. Greece, sadly, yes, too. That's going to start around about mid-November, increasing from where it was. Hopefully I'm wrong with all of these things. I mean, you should know that I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm really hoping it will be wrong, so I don't see the number of deaths or the compromised people who catch this new variant. So basically, Portugal's not as bad. Spain, I do see, and that's really in the villages. Madrid is hit hard. In France, it's Paris, definitely, and it's mostly this area here, not so much in Switzerland. They seem to be having it more or less under control, but there's definitely in there too. Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, all of these countries are being hit. Poland, Belarus, Norway and Sweden, definitely. All of the, oops, sorry. Hello. There you go. Finland, all their numbers grow. And it's really on a trend, to be honest. Ireland, the United Kingdom, all of that area is really on a trend towards, because of the holidays and travel. And it seems that it's more rife after November, that it starts really taking hold more. And I'm seeing the coughing is really bad here. So please be careful. All these countries definitely are going to get hit again. England, especially, Scotland, London, not so much in the country, but in Scotland, Ireland, and in there, let's see, I'm just trying to see. So really, sorry, when I go silent, I'm kind of downloading. I apologize. So I am worried. Morocco gets hit badly too, by the way. So please be careful. A lot of people have this huge argument regarding masks, but it's something preventative. And as I said in the other video, which I am going to actually attach to this one, even though it's US based, please just listen to it. And I am hoping to put out a video cooking show with certain foods that will help you increase your immune system, and two recipes, one definitely, it's only made in 15-20 minutes, but it'll help enhance your, it's the highest form of protein in a lentil. And also, anyway, I'll give you all those details later. I'm not too sure when, probably near Christmas, but I'll try and do that cooking show for you and upload it. I am so sorry that it's been a year and I can't believe it. It's been one hell of a ride this year for me. But anyway, hopefully that helps you. Please keep safe, and hopefully you're going to do your due diligence. Thank you. You keep safe. Blessings. I did cover coronavirus in the last segment for America, but it's basically the same thing here, where it's I'll kind of repeat it for this one, but I'll probably just copy that over here because it's the same thing, same more or less journey where you're seeing the COVID variant, which I said in September, and I'm going to put a picture of it, that there is a variant here that started in September, and it is a very aggressive one, so it did come true, unfortunately. But there I'm seeing two other subsequent variants coming in, and I did touch on RSVs, which I'll copy over and put it in here as well. RSV is the respiratory infections that children are getting, and I'm seeing it far more active in these areas here and in the poorer sections and the smaller towns that they're being affected. But it's really because of the weather is more extreme there in Europe, I'm afraid. Okay. COVID. Really wasn't going to do this one because I have covered it in a separate video earlier on, well, a few months ago anyway, where I said that there will be a new strain in September. I did do my research this time, and there was a new strain, a rather aggressive one, which I told you it would be, which started in September, which unfortunately did come true. And this is a variant, obviously. This one actually will be far more aggressive, and you have to be careful with this one, where your systems, and I apologize to all those who are looking for the video. I was going to give you a little cooking class on some foods and information to increase your immunity in your body. We'll try and put that on the schedule. Sorry, it's just been horribly crazy busy for me this year. Unexpected things happening. So anyway, basically, you need to realize that if you're in doubt or if you've got compromised health conditions, please put a mask on. I know there's a lot of people who don't believe in that. That's up to you. It's your prerogative. I'm not telling you what to do. I never will. Even my readings, people know when I do that. I make it very, very clear. It's your life, not mine. You make your own decisions, but you have to live with those decisions too. And especially if you're going out in other areas, etc., you need to realize that there are consequences to actions and to your family. So an ounce of prevention obviously helps in the future. Sorry about the lecture, but there are certain people that I know, unfortunately, who are so arrogant and irresponsible with their own health that it affects their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, family and friends. So think about those, but really, basically, once these COVID situations, if you do get COVID, you could get, I didn't say would, or guaranteed, you could get compromised with your health, which is what I'm worried about, is more on the lungs. And which leads me to the next one, which will be on the next video, regarding the children with all the health problems that they've been having at this new strain. So basically COVID, September, it did happen. It's only going to get worse. We're in October at the moment. This will last and get worse by round about the end of November. You'll see these cases getting worse and spreading. And it will be spreading more in the East Coast here and in certain areas here, California, and mainly in the big cities, in the really dense areas of of population. So be careful. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much doing the videos. I don't mean to be so rude. So anyway, then other than COVID, this current variant, it'll spurn another variant. But this one I'm seeing coming in January, around about the 18th to the 23rd. And this one has more of the upset stomachs, throwing up, and it's affecting your digestive systems. And, be careful with that one too. And I think I better do that video regarding protecting yourself or helping your immune systems build up and help you with that. But basically, that one comes in February and it peaks around about April, that one. The previous one I told you, which started in September, that one peaks round about Christmas, but into February, and end of February. So that's about 2.5 months of peak, and it starts going down. But the end of March, and that was only down for a few weeks, then by the end of March, it starts going back again, and it really hangs on until about July next year, but in a lesser form, in other words, a lesser spread throughout the United States. I'll cover cover Europe and Asia later in another video. But basically, that's the spread on that one. There are 2 more variants, actually 3 more variants coming in next year, and I'll discuss that nearer the time. Let's get through these 2 rather aggressive ones first, okay? Hopefully that helped you.